I've decided to start a new life without you. The words landed like a grenade in the middle of the upscale restaurant, right as we were gathered to celebrate my daughter's college graduation. Gregory, my husband of 28 years, stood there, champagne glass still raised mid-toast. Except it wasn't a toast. Not to Amelia. Not to her hard work or her honors diploma. It was a declaration. His declaration. You could have heard a pin drop. The clinking of forks on china stopped. Conversations froze mid-sentence. 50 pairs of eyes darted between Gregory and me, waiting for the show, the tears, the yelling, maybe even a dramatic exit. But I didn't give them what they wanted. Instead, I smiled. Congratulations on your honesty, I said. My name is Bianca Caldwell. I'm 54 years old, and until about 2 minutes ago, I was still playing the role of the devoted wife and mother. I had played it well too, putting my career on hold, supporting Gregory through 3 business ventures, 2 midlife crises, and a never-ending journey of finding himself. I was the one who raised our brilliant daughter Amelia, who sat beside me now, stunned, her graduation cap still perched awkwardly on her head. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw her, Cassandra Wells, Gregory's girlfriend. She was seated near the back with a few of what used to be our mutual friends, the same friends who apparently knew about the affair but never thought I needed to know. The same Cassandra who once called me to get career advice and smiled at me across Christmas party hors d'oeuvres. With perfect calm, I reached into my handbag and pulled out a sealed cream envelope. I placed it gently next to Gregory's plate. "What's this?" he asked, and for the first time that day his confident smirk wavered. "Something for you to read later," I said quietly, then turned to Amelia, kissed her cheek, and said, "I'm so proud of you, sweetheart. This day is still about you." Then I stood, smoothed my dress, and turned to the stunned room. "Please enjoy your meal. I wish you all a lovely afternoon." And with that, I walked out, head high, spine straight, feeling every pair of eyes glued to my back. The restaurant door swung closed behind me, muffling the beginning of hushed whispers. Outside, the Augusta heat wrapped around me like a wall, but for the first time in years, I could actually breathe. Behind me, the restaurant door slammed open. "Bianca, what the hell is this? What have you done?" Gregory's voice rang out, no longer confident, now high-pitched and strained. I didn't even turn around. I just kept walking, the smallest smile curling my lips. Because that envelope? That was the beginning. The opening act of a performance I'd been preparing for months. See, Gregory had always been the dreamer in our relationship. Big ideas, risk-taker, the guy who could charm his way through any room. I was the one who held everything together. The planner, the realist. When he invested in his friend's failed restaurant, I was the one who made sure Amelia's tuition was still covered. When he left his stable job to sell handcrafted furniture on Etsy, I picked up more hours at Truvanta Corp to keep the mortgage paid. My own dream, starting a financial consultancy for women, had always been pushed back. Not anymore. 3 months ago, I noticed strange transfers in our accounts. Small amounts at first. Just enough that someone not looking wouldn't question them. But I'd spent 2 decades managing our family's money. Every line item told a story. These were red flags. I didn't confront him right away. Something told me to wait, so I dug deeper. And what I found was worse than I imagined. Gregory had been draining our joint savings into a hidden account. Over a year of transfers. That account was funding lavish dinners, jewelry, hotel stays. He'd even toured beachfront properties with Cassandra. All while telling me we had to tighten the belt for retirement. And then, the real kicker. Text messages. Messages between him and Cassandra about their new life together. About how he was finally breaking free. About how he'd make the big announcement after Amelia's graduation. Their fresh start was scheduled to begin the very next day. But what Gregory forgot, or maybe never really understood, was that I wasn't just his wife. I was a finance professional. I knew how to follow a money trail. I knew about the prenup he insisted we sign all those years ago, when I had more family money than he did, the one with a very specific fidelity clause. While Gregory was planning his big exit, I was building my case. Quietly, strategically. I consulted lawyers, collected bank statements, screenshotted texts, secured hard evidence of the affair and the financial betrayal. I filed the divorce paperwork the morning of Amelia's graduation, timed so Gregory wouldn't know until it was too late to stop me. The documents were already filed with the court. The envelope I'd handed him during lunch? That was just the prelude. I didn't go back to the restaurant. Instead, I drove home. Our house, our beautiful colonial in Augusta's historic district, was quiet, familiar. The same family photos still lined the walls. The antique clock still ticked in the hallway. But everything had shifted. I went upstairs and opened our closet. Gregory's bags were already packed. Tucked away behind his suits, ready for his grand exit tomorrow. Of course. He'd always been predictable when it came to clothes. Precise, tidy, yet careless with the things that mattered. My phone buzzed, texts were rolling in. Friends asking what happened. Amelia, even Gregory's sister Diana, but I only responded to one person. I'm okay. Enjoy your graduation day. We'll talk tonight. Love you. I had protected Amelia from the truth for months. She deserved at least that much. Let her enjoy her final semester without the shadow of our crumbling marriage. 3 hours later, I heard Gregory's car in the driveway. The door flew open. Bianca! I was sitting calmly in the living room, reviewing legal notes. He burst in, face red, the envelope crumpled in his fist. You served me with divorce papers? Today? I closed my laptop. I thought it fit your schedule. You wanted a new life. I'm just speeding things up. You had no right. I had every right. Just like you had every right to choose Cassandra. He scoffed. The prenup expired years ago. I smiled. Actually, it didn't. Section 12. The fidelity clause remains active for the full duration of the marriage. Maybe you should have asked your lawyer. Oh, wait. You didn't consult one, did you? He paled. That prenup, the one he demanded all those years ago to protect his future earnings, was about to cost him everything. The house, the retirement funds, his share of our investments. Gregory Caldwell had made the most expensive toast of his life. I've decided to start a new life without you. The words hung heavy in the air of the upscale restaurant where we'd gathered to celebrate my daughter's college graduation. Gregory, my husband of 28 years, stood there, champagne glass still raised, his announcement cutting through the expected toast to Amelia's achievements. The clinking of silverware stopped. Conversations froze mid-sentence. 50 pairs of eyes shifted between Gregory and me, waiting for my reaction. The tears, the shouting, the dramatic exit everyone was expecting. But instead, I smiled. Congratulations on your honesty. My name is Bianca Caldwell. I'm 54 years old, and until that moment, I'd been playing the part of devoted wife and mother flawlessly. I put my career dreams on hold to support Gregory through 3 business ventures, 2 career changes, and countless finding himself phases. I raised our brilliant daughter, Amelia, who sat beside me now, her graduation cap still perched on her head, her face frozen in horror. Out of the corner of my eye, I spotted Cassandra Wells, Gregory's much younger girlfriend, shifting uncomfortably at the back table with people I'd considered friends for decades. The same friends who apparently knew about the affair but never told me. The same Cassandra who had attended our Christmas parties and had once called me for career advice. With practiced calm, I reached into my handbag and pulled out a sealed cream-colored envelope. I placed it gently beside Gregory's plate. "What's this?" he asked, his triumphant expression faltering. Something for you to read later, I said, my voice steady. I turned to Amelia, whose face had gone pale. I kissed her cheek. I'm so proud of you, sweetheart. Today is still about your accomplishment. Then, smoothing my dress, I faced our stunned guests. Please enjoy your meal. I wish you all a lovely afternoon. With that, I walked out, my head held high, feeling every one of those 50 pairs of eyes following me. The heavy door swung shut behind me, cutting off the beginning of anxious murmurs inside. The Augusta summer heat hit me like a wall, but I welcomed it. For the first time in years, I could breathe freely. Behind me, I heard the restaurant door open and slam shut, followed by Gregory's voice, no longer confident, but high-pitched and frantic. Bianca, what the hell is this? What have you done? I kept walking, allowing myself a small smile. The envelope I'd handed him was the start of my revenge, one I'd been planning for months. I had always been the practical one in our marriage. While Gregory dreamed big and took risks, I maintained the stability our family needed. I saved for Amelia's education, while Gregory invested unwisely in a friend's restaurant venture. I worked extra hours as a finance manager when his midlife crisis led him to quit a stable job to sell handcrafted furniture, a passion that lasted about 6 months before he grew bored. My own dream of opening a financial consultancy for women was perpetually on hold. After Amelia graduated, I told myself. After Gregory found stability. 3 months ago, I noticed discrepancies in our joint accounts. Small transfers to an unknown account. After managing our finances for 20 years, these irregularities stood out like flashing red flags. I could have confronted Gregory immediately, but something held me back. Maybe it was intuition or the growing distance between us. Instead, I quietly investigated. What I found was worse than I imagined. Gregory had been moving money to a secret account for over a year. He was taking Cassandra to expensive restaurants, buying jewelry, even looking at beachfront properties, all while telling me we needed to tighten our belts for retirement. Then came the texts I found on his unlocked phone, messages about their new life, about breaking free, about plans for the day after Amelia's graduation, the day he'd planned his grand exit from our marriage. What Gregory forgot, or maybe never understood, was that I was a financial professional with 30 years of experience. I knew how to trace money trails and remember every detail. And I remembered the prenuptial agreement we'd signed 28 years ago. A document Gregory insisted on, ironically, to protect his future earnings. That agreement contained a fidelity clause that would become his undoing. While he plotted his escape with Cassandra, I was building my case. I consulted attorneys, documented every hidden transfer, gathered evidence of their affair, and prepared divorce papers. I timed everything perfectly, knowing Gregory would want to wait until after Amelia's graduation to avoid ruining her big day. But what he didn't expect was that I'd serve the divorce papers on the morning of the graduation, before his planned announcement, though the papers were safely hidden in court records he couldn't yet access. I didn't return to the restaurant. Instead, I drove to our home, a spacious colonial in Augusta's historic district, which Gregory had already promised to Cassandra, according to the texts I'd seen. I parked in the driveway and entered what had been our shared life for over a decade. Everything looked the same. The family photos, the antique grandfather clock that had belonged to my father, the worn leather couch where we'd dreamed together. But everything had changed. I went upstairs to the master bedroom and opened the closet. Gregory's clothes were packed in suitcases, hidden at the back, ready for his planned departure the next day. I smiled at his predictability. My phone buzzed non-stop. Messages from friends at the restaurant, from Amelia, even from Gregory's sister Diana, who'd flown in for the graduation. I responded only to Amelia. I'm okay. This isn't your burden to carry. Enjoy your graduation day. We'll talk tonight. I love you. I had shielded Amelia from the truth for months, not wanting to overshadow her final semester with family drama. She'd be angry I hadn't told her, but I knew she'd understand eventually. Amelia had inherited my practicality and her father's charisma. A powerful combination that helped her graduate with honors. 3 hours later, I heard Gregory's car in the driveway. The front door slammed open. "Bianca!" he shouted, his voice echoing through the house. "Where are you?" I was sitting calmly in the living room, reviewing documents on my laptop. I closed it as he stormed in, his face flushed with anger, clutching the envelope in his hand. "What is the meaning of this?" he demanded, waving the papers. "You served me with divorce papers today. Of all days." "I thought it aligned nicely with your plans," I replied calmly. "You wanted to start your new life. I'm just helping facilitate the transition." "You had no right to—" "I had every right," I interrupted, voice steady. "Just as you had every right to choose Cassandra. We all make choices, Gregory." "The prenup expired years ago," he said smugly. "Any lawyer will tell you that." I allowed myself a small smile. "Actually, Section 12 specifically states that the fidelity clause remains in effect for the duration of the marriage. Your lawyer should have explained that to you." "Oh, wait. You didn't consult one, did you?" The color drained from his face as reality sank in. The prenuptial agreement he insisted upon to protect his wealth was now going to cost him everything. The house, the vacation property, our retirement accounts. His grand announcement at the restaurant had just become the most expensive moment of his life. "You can't do this to me," Gregory said, collapsing onto the couch. "We built this life together, and you chose to end it," I replied. "Though not in the way you planned." His phone buzzed again. He glanced at it, then ignored it. Cassandra, no doubt, wondering where he was, why he wasn't following their plan. "You've always been calculating, Bianca, but this is cold," he said, trying a different approach. "What about our history? 28 years together means nothing?" I studied him, the man I'd loved for nearly 3 decades, the one who held my hand through 2 miscarriages before we had Amelia, the man who surprised me with a weekend trip for our 10th anniversary. When had he changed? Or had he always been this person, and I was just too devoted to notice? "Our history means everything to me," I answered truthfully. "That's why your betrayal hurt so deeply." His expression softened for a moment. "Then maybe we can fix this. I made a mistake. People make mistakes. This wasn't a mistake, Gregory. This was a calculated plan spanning over a year. You systematically moved money, looked at property, planned your public announcement." His face hardened again. "You're exaggerating, am I?" I picked up my phone, opened the recording app, and played his voice. "After the graduation, I'll tell her it's over. A public setting is better. She won't make a scene in front of everyone." Then Cassandra's voice. "She has no idea about the money. Gregory. Bianca trusts me completely. That's her weakness." The blood drained from his face. "You recorded our conversations. That's illegal." "Not in Georgia when one party consents," I said, "and not when it's your own home. I didn't record private moments, only conversations about your plans to defraud me." He stood suddenly agitated. "I need to make some calls." "Of course," I said. "Your attorney might be a good start. I'll be staying at Diana's tonight." "Diana's?" I nodded. "She's quite upset with you. She was the one who first spotted you and Cassandra together last Christmas. She confronted you. You promised her it was nothing, that you'd end it. When she realized you hadn't, she came to me." That was another blow he hadn't anticipated. Diana and I had always been close, but Gregory never imagined his own sister would side with me. "Everyone's betraying me," he muttered. "Ironic, isn't it?" I gathered my purse and a small overnight bag I'd packed earlier. "You have until tomorrow evening to remove your things from the house. After that, the locks will be changed." As I headed for the door, Gregory called after me, desperation in his voice. "What about Amelia? Have you thought about how this affects her?" I paused, anger finally breaking through my calm. "Don't you dare use our daughter as a shield, Gregory. You weren't thinking about her when you planned your beachfront life with Cassandra. His phone buzzed again. He looked at it and groaned. Problem? Cassandra is at the apartment already. She's moved her things in. I couldn't help but smile. The apartment you put in both your names. The lease you signed last month. Gregory looked confused. You might want to check with the leasing office. That application was flagged for credit issues and never completed. The agent called our home to verify information. I handled it myself. I walked out the door, leaving Gregory to face the first of many consequences. The next morning, the news spread fast. The story of Gregory Caldwell's shock divorce announcement at Amelia's graduation party became the talk of Augusta's social circles and business community. I watched the headlines pop up on my phone while sipping coffee at my favorite cafe, feeling a strange mix of relief and anticipation. Amelia called me later that day, her voice shaky but stronger than I expected. Mom, I'm sorry you had to find out like that, but thank you for protecting me. I smiled into the phone. Your future is bright, sweetheart. This is just the beginning of a new chapter for all of us. Over the following weeks, I rebuilt my life piece by piece. I met with my attorney, finalized the divorce, and started taking steps toward reopening my consultancy. This time focused on helping women reclaim control over their finances after betrayal. One afternoon, a message popped up from Diana, Gregory's sister. I've got some news you need to hear about him. I replied, curious. Meet me at our mother's old garden this evening. When I arrived, Diana looked exhausted but resolute. Gregory's spiraling, she said quietly. He's lost control of his businesses, and Cassandra has vanished. No one can reach her. I raised an eyebrow. Sounds like karma's finally catching up. Diana nodded. She was never in it for love. She wanted the lifestyle. And when it started to crumble, she ran. As the sun set behind the ancient oaks, I felt a quiet satisfaction. The past was behind me. Ahead lay uncertainty. Yes, but also freedom. And this time, I'd write my own story. ChatGPT said, Amelia's first semester at college arrived quickly, and with it came a whirlwind of new experiences. She called often, her voice filled with excitement as she described campus life, late-night study sessions, and the new friends she was making. One afternoon, while walking through the university quad, Amelia sent me a photo of a flyer pinned to a bulletin board, Women in Business, Empowerment and Leadership Conference. I smiled. It was exactly the kind of event I wanted to support her in attending. Meanwhile, I was deep into launching my consultancy, New Dawn Financial, with a mission to help women like me recover and rebuild after betrayal. The first clients were coming in. Women who'd faced the darkest moments yet were ready to take control of their futures. One evening, as I prepared a presentation for a seminar, my phone buzzed. It was a text from an unknown number. You don't know me, but I have information about Gregory Caldwell. Meet me at the old cafe on 5th Street tomorrow at noon. Curiosity and caution warred inside me. Was this a chance to learn more about the man who had so much power over my past, or just another complication I didn't need? I decided to go. Would you like me to continue with the mysterious meeting, or focus on Amelia's college journey or the growth of New Dawn Financial?